Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are all welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Monday, 12 February 2024. Page 129, 130, 131, I have examined the votes and proceedings of Monday, 12 February 2024, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
Mr. Speaker, sir, distinguished honorable members, there is no message from the governor.
Any other announcement?
There is none, sir.
Petitions?
None, sir.
Matter of urgent public importance, Honorable Abafemi.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Nigeria is going through a very hard and pathetic time now. People are in agony due to the currency, the devaluation, due to the Naira exchange to dollars. As of today, dollar to Naira is around 1,530 Naira. Most of the importation that we do in Nigeria are due to dollars. Most of the market forces are working against the Naira. But the government of Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has told Nigeria, is working tenaciously in making sure that Nigeria economy is returned back to good old times. But if you look at what happened in Nigeria during the Emefiele's regime, through the ways and means, 23 trillion naira was printed out of Nigerian system. This 23 trillion naira, what happened to it? You could not be tied to any infrastructural development. You cannot say this is what Nigeria invested the money on. The impact of that 23 trillion naira in Nigeria economy is what we are facing, number one. Look at it. Most of the people that benefited from this 22 trillion naira went back to the market and they converted it to naira. Most Nigeria has idle dollar and people are speculators. They are looking for an opportunity to have their money working for them, why that money is not doing any added value to Nigerian economy. I think the CBN governor under the President Tinubu should try work a policy through moral suasion that Nigerians' domiciliary account, people should be given incentive to turn out their dollars so that more dollars will now be in the circulation instead of being in the hands of few. Why most of our importation are dollars dependent. And secondly, Nigeria took a bold step in 2015 when they talked about the currency swap with China. This currency swap was to the tune of 2.6 billion naira. If we look at the quantum of transaction with Nigeria and Ghana, Nigeria and China today, you will find out that most of our importation are in Chinese. Why are we not trading most of our services and goods in China, in Chinese yuan, so that there will be a reduced pressure on naira and we could have a flexible payment between the naira and the dollar? And even safe, that is why I want to commend the late Wigwe Abat Igwe that died. The man had a clear vision of putting up a state-of-art university, 2 in Nigeria, to the tune of $500 million. That is to say, the man knows that most of the money that we exchange out most of our money were being used to pay school fees. So if we have one of the best universities in the world, 2 of its kind in Nigeria, I think it will reduce the naira rate. Again, the only thing we want to tell the federal government is that the Dangote refinery that Nigerian government supported so much with so much dollar, because the altercation of the Nigerian economy started when Nigeria started supporting the refinery. Up till now, we want to see to the consummation and we want to see to the benefit of why Nigeria invested in that refinery, so that we stop importation of petroleum products into Nigeria. Another thing that contributed to the inflation of Nigeria is the pump price. And if you look at the pump price directly affected everything in Nigeria. If you go to the market today, the market will say, do you know how much we transport our goods from the farm to the seller? So if Nigerians could work and make sure that Dangote refinery is performing, the Port Harcourt refinery is performing, the the Kaduna refinery is coming on board, I think it will ease the pressure on the naira. And unemployment again, government should decide a means. We have group of energetic youth workforce that are skilled, that are ready to take up any appointment in any. Farming is an experience. If these people are encouraged with the right tools and with the right facility, I think we have the ability and we have the potential as a nation to feed ourselves. If we reduce the importation of the food supply to Nigeria today by half, I think naira will be reducing pressure on the naira. Even in times of medical facilities, Nigerian government from all facets of life should invest heavily in medicine so that we can discourage this medical tourism. The way Nigeria amass so much wealth outside the country, it is through importation of food, importation of medical bills, preschool of school fees, and medical tourism. All these are areas that the government of Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is working in making sure that more revolutions are coming up. Look at the recent revolution that came up. 2.4 billion naira could not be accounted for out of the money they asked the federal government to pay. This was done by a world-class consulting firm that this 2.4 billion could not be accounted, and you are wanting the government to come and pay this money. If the Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not used his wisdom and his experience in saving Nigeria from this 2.4, Nigeria will have paid another money to ghost workers who will have further impoverished Nigeria into a further hardship. The government of APC, the government of Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the people of Lagos are people that have promised Nigeria a better Nigeria. And through our policies and actions, look at the food palliative that is going on. If government should increase its tempo with the way things are going on around the world, we want to urge the citizen to support this government in the area of this reform. We are going to make sure, this is the first time in the history of Nigeria, that NNPCL, Nigeria Petroleum Corporation Limited, is paying something into the coffers of Nigeria. We as a government are determined to make Nigeria more accountable with the resources that God has endowed us with. The Nigerian government, the populace of Nigeria, the elite, the news medias, the technocrats, the Chartered Institute of Accounting, a chief economist of Nigeria, all of them should come together and be saying what the good side of Nigeria that we are doing. Look at today, we have another good news in Nigeria. It is not only a bad news. Our petroleum product, our crude oil production has risen to 1.5 million barrels. What was the benchmark that we made for this budget? It was 1.8, which means this government is growing geometrically. These are some of the advantages that this government has contributed. We want, and if this naira is not addressed, the citizens should support the government. Nigerians has these dollars in their bank's account. Nigeria has these dollars at home. The naira redesign has caused another altercation in Nigeria economy. These are all some of the somethings we are trying. Insecurity is not even leaving us out. The people that have contributed, have invested so much in farming activities, will no longer go back to farms and farm. We are buying food that are not available at a high cost. And Nigerians are saying, we want this thing to be a thing of the past. There is no country that has not asked its own time. Nigeria is going through its hard time. But we are telling the people of Nigeria that we, the people that you have represented, are going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that we stabilize this country, and we make sure that we expose those that are behind this dollar crisis and more exchange. We've traveled around the world. There's no way where you have parallel market competing with money market. The parallel market in Nigeria needs stringent measure. They don't do anything, but they only hide inflation. They depend on transactionary motives. We should curb them, and we should regulate them, and we should make them not to be too speculative. Today, you will buy dollar 1,500. Tomorrow, they will tell you that it's 1,600. What is happening to Nigeria is a man-made. It is not God-made. But the government of APC government, we are praying, we are hoping, and working tenaciously that our President Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is capable with his policy and reform. We want to urge Nigeria, we want to urge the citizen that the problem of Nigeria that we are witnessing today is not the problem that started today. It is problem of unemployment that's been on for long. It is problem of deficit of infrastructure that's been on for long. It is the problem of corruption that has put Nigeria in the map of bad light. These are some of the challenges that this government inherited, and we are doing everything possible. The government needs our support at this very point in time to put Nigeria on the trajectory of hope. And we pray with the support of all Nigerians, good Nigerians, and all other people that knows about economy to come around, support this government, so that all this reform that we have highlighted will be to the benefit of Nigeria. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to stand before you today.
Thank you, Honorable Said. Honorable Ageslaimo.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the last speaker.
Can you please make use of the mic? We can't hear you, and
Hello?
you have limited time, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I want to thank the mover of this subject we're talking about. You see, dollar is a global phenomenon, as well as global problem. And of course, Nigeria is part of the globalization, so it cannot be exempted. But I want to make it clear at this point that foreign reserve, which is what's supposed to be directed and controlled by CBN of any country, of course is there. But in Nigeria context, we have like 3 different reserves. The banks, they have their own reserve, as well as individual, which cannot be accounted for. So it becomes so difficult for the government to come out with the estimated amount of dollars in an economy where individuals are allowed to keep money in their various houses or their various whatever in the name of reserve. This cannot really help because the essence of the reserve is to inject when necessary to control inflation and other vices. But in the case of individuals which are holding money, this becomes very, very difficult. So we regularly suggested that if it is possible, because there are so many countries in the world that are thinking of probably moving away from dollar, which is called de-dollarization. But this might not easily come by because of the power of dollar. Otherwise, I would have suggested Nigeria should just maybe pull out from dollarization and join other economies, whereby the ability to hold on to dollars in their various homes can be neutralized. Thank you very much.
Honorable Kasu, put up your hand. Yeah, Honorable Kasu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to also join my voice and acknowledge the powerful presentation from the mover of the motion, Honorable Femi Said. We cannot overemphasize and acknowledge the government's role in the excruciating, painful situation that we're experiencing in terms of the economic situation having to do with the dollar rise. However, Mr. Speaker, at this point in time, it is time for the government to keep trying to diversify the economy further in making sure that we reduce our reliance on oil exports, promote non-oil sectors through targeted investments and incentives that will further promote and attract foreign investors to boost our economy. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, having said that, we must also acknowledge that the citizens too have immense role to play in making sure that we get to a point where we can say the stability of the dollar and of course voting against the naira is the order of the day. We must make sure that as citizens we try as much as possible to prioritize the production and consumption of locally made goods and services to reduce our dependence on imports, and of course it will further stimulate the domestic production. Furthermore, I want to believe that with the advocacy of accountability when it comes to engaging government officials and of course demanding from transparency and managing the economy in absolute, will create a very new picture for the foreign exchange market. And with collaborative efforts from the public and the private partnership, creating a private-public dialogue over time would increase our ability to actually get a better economic situation. However, Mr. Speaker, having considered all of this, we must also look at the long-term vision of what we intend to achieve by promoting the economic diversification of and competitiveness in terms of dollar and production. and of course, create an environment suitable for economic growth when it comes to the rise of dollar. This cannot be overemphasized, but I do believe that at the end of affairs, the president is, however, confident about the renewed hope agenda, and will make sure we get to a better Nigeria. Thank you.
Honorable Afeni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Honorable Said has said a lot. Just to add a few words to this is that the issue of NNPC is something that cannot be overemphasized. We need to, that is one major way where the government or the country in general gets is dollar earnings from. So NNPC not being transparent enough, and with the declaration of the federal government now that they have to pay all earnings into the CBN so that to be accountable, is a very good move from the federal government. And then we talk about making Nigeria production-based and all that. Even the largest economies in the world import various items into their countries. So it is not the issue of importation into Nigeria that is actually the problem. The problem is not having balance in trade. We should be able to export more than just oil. So the last speaker spoke about diversification. Yes, it is very important. However, we cannot leave it on the federal government alone. Let's come to the state governments also. Like in the Southwest, for example, almost all these governors that claim to be from the Progressive Party and all that, being an offshoot of Chief Obafemi Awolowo's Action Congress, what policies are they putting in place that Chief Obafemi Awolowo put in place? What's happening to the cocoa exportation and all that? If you cannot produce chocolates and coffees and all that made from cocoa, actually you can plant it, harvest it, export it, and get foreign exchange earnings. So if we are to call a spade and not a big spoon, we need to call on the state governors, especially from the Southwest, for them to invest more in agriculture and not wait for what where it's called the food basket of the nation, the middle belt and all that. We can actually get foreign exchange earnings from the Southwest also to support the federal government. And then lastly, there's also an issue raised about how things are expensive in the market and all that. I saw the issue of the federal government trying to release grains from a reserve and all that. And I wonder why we have a reserve in the first place. Why can't we just leave the farmers taking all this to the market, let the market be flooded? We have the issue of demand and supply. If there's oversupply, the prices will come down because they want to sell the items they have in the market. So I think the federal government should look at that. It is not just about releasing the reserves at certain times, and then you hold on to some certain grains again and all that. It won't work that way long term. It's just going to have short-term effect. For a long-term effect, I don't think we need a reserve for food items. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. I really want to appreciate the prime mover of this motion, Chairman of Committee on Finance. We're talking about the devaluation of Naira to dollar, pounds and euro. If we really want our Naira to appreciate, we need to stop our people that open a domiciliary account. If the CBN can regulate everyone that we should stop using a domiciliary account, using a pounds account, using a euro account, I believe our Naira can be appreciated. If you travel to UK, there is no one that stays in UK. If you're a citizen, you can only use a pounds account. There is no way you use a Naira account. If you need any money that apart from pounds account, that means you go to post office, or it's not possible for you to trade with a black market. And go to other parts of the country. Even in US that we're talking about the US dollars, there is no way you have a pounds account in US or Naira account. So if we want our policy to be stronger, we only need the CBN to change their policy. People that are bringing money from US, they will send money to bank from US. Our people will go to US, to the bank, and they will still pay them in Naira. Why can't you tell them, if you are paying money from US, if once the money hit your account or hit the portal of any bank, once you are withdrawing the money must be paid out to the person in naira. So once we start assessing that, there is nobody that will be able to have a huge amount of dollars in circulation. And two, if we really need that dollars or pounds, we can as well just go to let's try and empower our own post office here. So that we go to post office to have a minimum rate that you can collect in a day or a week. So with that, if you have, maybe you have a huge amount you want to collect, you can as well apply to a portal of CBN. So it will be an approval from the CBN. So I believe with this, our Naira will appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon, my distinguished colleagues. The fall of the Naira is a direct reflection of two things here: government policies and over-dependence on importation. The function of market forces, the government has no power to determine the value of its currency. The function of the economic and the capacity and capability is the determinant of the value of our currency. So long as we remain import-driven, without commensurate export of local production to compete favorably with the international markets, so will our Naira continue to fall. We need to produce what we use and use what we produce. That way, our Naira will fall in relation with other currency. We need to move from consumption to production. When you are in Nigeria, please spend the Naira and not the dollar. Thank you.
Honorable Joseph.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. We can't continue to live in denial of what is happening in our society now. And we know the challenges we are facing in respect of foreign exchange. It affects almost everybody in the country. And it is the bane of economic challenges we are having in the country. Basically, we spoke a lot in respect of the security yesterday. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. You are the one that raised it under the matters of urgent public importance. And later, we heard that National Assembly, they have given approval that the state police should commence soon. I just pray it will happen as soon as possible. These are some of the challenges that had effect on our forests. Then, 70s, 80s, even in the early 90s, someone have said it, in respect of the cocoa, cotton, sugarcane, and others. Those are some of those things that we use to export. We don't even depend at all on crude oil. But now, that is what all our economy are surrounded by. So the CBN has to do a lot more in respect of the policies. The North Central and the Northwest are the food baskets of the nations. And for a very long time, almost 10 years plus, people have not been able to go into their farms. When they are unable to go to their farms to farm, what do you want them to sell? How do you want us to export? So it means this thing has to do with security too. So by the time we are able to have a lot of things to export, that is where we will be able to earn more forest money. In a short time, I know it might not be a very good idea, but in a short time, like being said, if our refineries, Port Harcourt refineries and Dangote refineries start operating at optimal level, at least that will take almost 15% of those that depend on forest exchange, take them away. At least I believe they will be buying that in Naira. Then those neighboring countries, to some of our people, they can even go there and buy some things through savers or some other foreign money that is not dollars. We need to do a diversification from the dollars. And we need to assist our people, most especially the youth and everybody, in respect of employment. It's not only when you export or you buying are not the only means of employing people. Even infrastructural development are also means of employment. But today, how many contractors can go and work in a very far place that the security people will not challenge? So I want to give the CBN and our people themselves, we need to help this country. Cement was being sold at the beginning of the month, 5,000. Second day, 5,800. Then a week, within that particular time, 8,000. Are you telling me that the one that you have produced within that 3 or 4 months, that is why the prices have jumped to that level? So we need to look in all those things. As the government is helping us, we must help ourselves, at least to let us make sure that the renewal actually work for every one of us. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to wholeheartedly agree with Honourable Femi Said and just buttress a point that he mentioned. Honourable Ogukelu also mentioned it, which was about the speculators, sir. And currently in Nigeria, I think one of our biggest banes is the fact that the government is a speculator, the people themselves...
Can you please take your seats, Honourable LSHA? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. The government are speculators, the people are speculators, and now the banks have also turned themselves into speculators. I'll try and explain briefly, sir. The President Bola Ahmed Asiwaju, he floated the Naira with the intendment of it reinvigorating the economy and boosting investments into the country. But the problem we're having there, sir, is banks have started using that as an opportunity for themselves to hoard the dollar. They're now hoarding the dollar to an extent that they're waiting for the depreciation of the Naira so that they can make profits for themselves with this money, sir. Thank God that the CBN governor has now put in some new policies in place to, first of all, reduce their ability to actually hoard money by reducing their short on their NOP to just 20%, their long positions only 0%. So they can no longer hold that large amount of money again, which is what we saw in the past couple of weeks when the Naira reevaluated and gained some traction against the dollar. But sadly, sir, the speculation still continues. With people being able to hoard dollars in their house by themselves, they are able to control the market forces and control the powers and the rates that Naira is currently being sold at, sir. By forcing people to now run to the black market because they're hoarding the dollars and keeping it from people using it to do production. And I think right now, sir, the central bank's Central Bank of Nigeria's main focus should actually just be on stabilizing the Naira. Right now, what we need is more foreign direct investment and, yes, more foreign sales. But before we can even get the foreign investments, investors outside of the country need to know that if they put $20 million down and convert it into Naira, that Naira will not depreciate in value and the $20 million suddenly becomes $15 million in value. So once we are able to stabilize, even if we can stabilize it at 2,000, stabilize it at 1.5, stabilize it at 800, the figure doesn't matter. What actually matters is the ability for foreign investors to feel confident that their investments will produce returns for them in the long run. So case in point, sir, if we look at what happened in the past couple of months with banks based on how they were able to speculate, just last year in 2022, banks made just over 600 billion, the top 6 banks for their investors, just over 600 billion. But with the new fiscal policies that the president puts in place, they use it to their advantage and they've made over 2.5 trillion naira now. And that is because they've taken advantage of the policies that the president has put in place. So CBN now needs to regulate them harshly and control these activities that these banks within our country, as they were supposed to be patriots for us, they've basically tried to diminish what the president has tried to do to better and reinvigorate the economy. So the CBN should look really hard at regulating the banks and ensuring that they're no longer able to damage the effects of what the president was trying to accomplish by floating the naira. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'll try to make my brief very short. I want to appreciate the prime mover of this motion, Honorable Femi Said, because as it is, we also use the opportunity to express our empathy for what Nigerians, even we as lawmakers, are going through, because it is quite significant and of a fact that Nigerians will depend a lot on importation. And this importation causes for the scarcity of the dollar as it sees. Our importation based on production of goods from outside, bringing it into the country, most of our businessmen, they can only trade on these productions with this dollar. And it's this scarcity of dollar now that we don't have in Nigeria that is actually causing the problem. Floating the naira is not a bad thing. And the question is, how deep do we have an understanding of the policies of the CBN and the federal government in floating the naira? These are the questions that one must ask, because this is the second time, I believe, that the nation is going to go into floating the naira. It happened sometime in 2016, and this is the second time. The idea behind it is to strengthen the naira and not rely and depend majorly on the dollar. However, we must look at the fact that most of our people, the importation aspect, even education, infrastructure, a lot of us, a lot of people actually depend on this same dollar because it's the globally accepted funding in the world. But they depend on this dollar to even pay for school fees for their children who are studying abroad. A few years ago, the same amount of money that you use, maybe 2 million naira to acquire about 10,000 pounds. Now you'll be talking about 20 million naira. And yet, we are still pursuing it and trying to purchase it at a ridiculous amount of money. However, the policies and the direction of the federal government, and I trust solely, sir, in the president of today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because of some of the amendments that he's making into the country, infrastructure-wise, agricultural-wise. If we can look inwards to Nigerians' development, the infrastructure of Nigeria, we don't need necessarily to be sending our children abroad anymore. We don't need to be looking for the dollar to go and be paying for hospital bills outside of the country anymore. Agricultural-wise, we don't need to be importing a lot of things from outside the country. Also, I read somewhere that we're not just looking at oil anymore, but we're also looking at the exportation of gas, which significantly is going to improve on our economic development as well. Also, Honorable Femi Said said something that we don't necessarily, why is it that we have to rely solely on dollar? If we have the opportunity of looking at other currencies in which we can determine business or exchange business with, I think it will also help the country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tijani.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I must commend Honorable Said for this topic, because this is one of the problems we are facing in this country. Dollar has become another thing, to the extent that a farmer who is selling plantain will tell you that the reason why the inflation on this market is dollars. And I believe this is out of corruption. And MPs are running domiciliary accounts, and individuals are running domiciliary accounts. There should be limits of amount of what they are supposed to have in their accounts. And Mr. President has tried his best to put up a capable hand that can handle this situation. Let them come up with a policy that will address this issue. Domiciliary accounts should have a limit. 2, anything deposit beyond that limitation should be converted to naira. Black market should be totally clamped down. And any other transaction in Nigeria with dollars should be prohibited. These are the causes of this inflation. I want us to work on this. God will help us.
Honorable Tobo. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Well, the economic hardship is not just starting today. It has been in existence for quite a long time. And if you listen to Barrister, sometimes that song that Owe Poni Nigeria et Mikokari, and that Mikunu, the poor people are suffering. This we have observed over time. So it's bad and aberration. I feel what is happening in Nigeria now is sabotage. And I feel concerned
when some prominent Nigerians were trying to incite publics against the government. I feel it's a deliberate attempt to frustrate the present government that meant well for this country. Yes, floating naira. Yes, government have been subsidizing over a period of time. And even petroleum, government have been subsidizing over a period of time. And if government feel subsidizing those items were to the benefit of some few individuals, they won't wonder why some people are now coming up to incite members of the public against the government. Yes, I agree that to strengthen the economy, we need to redo or rebuild our refineries. That is necessary. We need to diversify agriculture and then allow our people to go into farming so that we can export more. In those days, some people, some country or states were known to export rubber, while some export cocoa, some export groundnut oil, and they were making foreign exchange from those trade. But today, that is not what is happening. But when you come in back and look at it critically, sir, you will discover that we are borrowing. As we speak, we have borrowed about $5.3 billion from China. And with that, we probably borrow about $593.75 million from France. We probably borrow about $144.75 million from Germany. They are all in dollars. We equally borrowed about $26 billion from Indians. The question that really comes to mind is, where are these dollars going to? They were going to the exporters who want to export items to this country to develop the economy. And who monitor the movement of those dollars? Nobody. The money now goes back into the hands of spectators who now hoard the dollars because the government has subsidized, and they're now releasing it to the members of the public. Mr. Speakers and distinguished colleagues, let me use Dangote as an example. The CBN in 2022 said the total cost of Dangote refinery is $9 billion. What do we now see? Is $18.5 billion that they now said will complete, and this thing was estimated in dollars. So, and the CBN are to contribute 50% of the equity for the development of this project. So if they have paid another extra almost 20 billion, almost 10 billion, where did that 10 billion goes to? And that's why you discover that the man in the street is more richer than some who call themselves a petty trader or businessman. So because there's no amount you want to change from them, they will just, they won't change within a twinkle of an eye. Where did they get this dollar? So they are the one making it difficult for this country to survive. In my own opinion, I feel the president should take a bold step. Arrest those who are supposed to be arrested. Detain them. Let them bring out these dollars. And with that, I promise that things will come down. Because if you go ahead and borrow another one, it's like putting the country into problem. But those who have hoarding it, that we can trace the money to their account, should be arrested and get the money back and pump back into the economy. My submission, sir.
Honorable Lumebo.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker. I have my points with to support Honorable Said, Chairman House Committee on Finance. So we've addressed all the problems we have, basically: insecurities, instability in the economy, lack of trust in certain policies made by the government, corruption, and unemployment. But we need to go further to address the way we can actually prefer solutions to these certain things we have on ground. How is a government that is meant to actually $1.5 billion to float the naira monthly, how do you expect that government to thrive and survive? $1.5 billion. I remember Sanusi said in a post I saw recently that he kept asking the questions, where are these dollars going to? Why are you using $1.5 billion to float Naira? What is the reason why? Takes me back to NNPC. Why is NNPC not accountable? The present government under Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing so much, and we need to give credence to that, because basically, this is it saying that NNPC has never been accountable. You sell crude oil and never send money back. Where are these dollars going to? In Sanusi's words, it cost him his job, and he says you can sack him again over and over again. But we keep on saying the truth. We need to know where these monies are going to. So saying back now that she's taking the money back to CBN, it's a very good step. Also, if this money is, I saw it on a news post this morning that said they would be paying the money back to the CBN in Naira. I do not know where that is coming from. Some experts said they have to pay the remittance back in Naira. Paying remittance back in Naira, we have different experts, economic experts that will give us different advices that, okay, this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to prefer certain solutions. But to what end? They're still saying that they should borrow long-term loan. Another expert came out and said, borrow long-term loan to float Naira. To what end? People are starving. Our people are hungry, they're clamoring. I have a sister that called me barely 3 days ago saying that she needs to pay school fees. We need to understand this thing. Education, paying school fees, back to even to Naira to yen. Honorable member mentioned Naira to yen recently. Honorable Said mentioned it. We need to look for a way where in Lagos Island, basically, we get well over, not exaggerating, 100 to 150 containers daily that are being dropped, and they pay these monies in dollars. They will tell you they do not accept any other thing, and you have to pay them. The exchange rate of what it is today, over 1,500, and imagine how much you're paying for each container. So if we can go towards it and look at the way we can actually make it easier for the people, if they want to trade, no problem, trade, but it should be Naira to yen. This policy should be in place. Also, finally, I would like to, about making it easier for people to get their money in and outside of the country. Our MasterCards, our Verve cards are not working. It doesn't have to be the dollarized card, just like Honorable Kelu said. It could be your Naira card working directly, anything you want to purchase at any point in time. And there should be a way whereby they can meet people that are trying to siphon money or do other things. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Gule.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Prime Mover of this motion. The honorables before me have spoken very well and almost covered the field. But I just want to back Honorable Olabi that we need a bit more monitoring of our commercial banks by the central bank. This issue of the dollar rising so suddenly and so quickly, I think is a reaction to the floating of the Naira by government. And also the recent announcement by the directive by the CBN governor that banks should reduce the amount of dollars they are keeping in their coffers. One begins to wonder what the Nigerian bank is doing, keeping so much dollars in their coffers, and the average citizen will go to the banks, and for years, what you hear from them is that they don't have dollars. They're actually the ones that direct you to the malams. So it's a shock to me that the CBN governor will be telling banks to offload the dollars they have with them. So it's a direct indicator to the fact that the banks as an institution are directly contributing to the scarcity and unavailability of the dollar. And with scarcity and unavailability, with my little economics I know, the demand, once demand is too much and the people that are supposed to be supplying claim not to have, then of course the people on the streets, I don't want to say malams, the people on the streets, because I know some Yoruba boys that do this business as well, are out there changing money at whatever prices they've agreed with the commercial banks. Because I want to safely say that those boys on the streets selling these dollars get it from the banks. Since the central bank has said that the banks have dollars that they are keeping, and with the citizens that really need it for school, to travel for medical expenses, don't get it from the banks. Let's be true to ourselves. We need a proper searchlight on our banks in this country. Thank you very much.
Honorable Fatoy.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable, fellow honorable members. It gives me a great pleasure to contribute to this motion at such a timely point of our nationhood. As much as foreign exchange is within the preserved federal government, I believe that the House of Assembly owns the federal government duty on advice because we are the closest to the people. The prime mover, Honorable Femi Said, has identified some of the major causes on rising on exchange rates. He made mentions of the students studying abroad. We as a government, we need to make sure that we fix in all our schools so that it's going to reduce the numbers of the students seeking admissions or studying abroad. Also, on our health sectors, we need to make sure as a government to fix all our healthcare service delivery so that once we fix it, it's going to reduce the pressures on dollars. Also, over-dependent on foreign goods and services, we need to cultivate the habits of making use of our goods and services. Once we have that one in place, I believe that it's going to force the dollar down, and also inadequate supplies of electricity. Yesterday, the Right Honorable made mention or calling for state police. It's one of the major causes. Another one today is inadequate supplies of electricity. Once we can get this one fixed, I believe that most of the manufacturing companies will return back to our country. In the 1980s, we have manufacturing companies, they with textiles industry, Atushudi, Sodo, Oregun, and others. Where are they today? They have relocated to other part of the, they have relocated to another country. We have a country, we have a company that deal with manufacturing of the tire. Where are they today? They have relocated because of inadequate power supply. I believe that if you can fix this, the exchange rate will come to the normal. And also, we need to identify balance of the trade with other nations where we balance our trade payments. I believe that once we have all these things in place, it's going to affect the price, dollar to dollar. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Okola.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Good afternoon, honorable colleagues. My colleague, Honorable Femi Said, has submitted a very brilliant one. It shows a well-researched submission. So he has talked about virtually all what the problems are and also provide solution, but in adding our voice to it, I want to support the idea of introducing moral suasion in combating these are biting and very excruciating economy. That moral suasion will only give the desired result only if the president could give executive order in that direction. So to give people confidence to bring out the dollars and inject it into the economy. Without so doing, people will be afraid to bring out dollar. So it shows sincerity on the part of government if the president can, pass executive order in that direction. Secondly, in reflecting our economy, there are so many albatrosses. There are issues that we must tackle in the short run and issues that we must tackle in the long run. But right now, we need to do something immediate to soften these hard times. Part of what we should do is increasing production of our crude oil. We have it. We have our crude oil, it's functioning. And what we must do is to plug all the loopholes and increase production of our crude oil. And if we like, we can propose a law, an act of the parliament to support the engagement of more and more private security. Because if we look at it vividly, the usual conventional security are complicit. Once upon a time, we were making 800,000 to 1 million barrel of oil. But when the government engaged the hands of private security, it jumped up to 1.5, 1.7. So if there is a law to regulate that, it will also help the situation as it were in the short run. In the short run again, sir, I wonder what the Minister of Agriculture is doing. The government has said that there is emergency. They have announced emergency in the realm of agriculture. You can see the star boys, Ojo, Osuntigani, and the rest of them. They are working. We know them. You hardly can know the name of the Minister of Agriculture. I mean, the middleman has to be tackled in whatever form. See, they are creating artificial scarcity. If you go to Magborodia, Mowe area, you see trailers parked, creating artificial scarcity, and you see prices jumping up in my 12. They will park there until they exhaust all the tomatoes, the onions in my 12. By so doing, they are creating artificial scarcity, and prices jump up. So they need to be, the issue need to be addressed in the short run. Again, sir, on security, we must immediately work on application of technology to tackle security, especially in the area of recognizers. Everything is not using kinetic measure in addressing security. All our farmers are out of the farm because of insecurity. So we can also use the application of technology to address the issue of recognizers. So by so doing, we'll be abating insecurity from the outset. Again, sir, we talk about sincerity in palliative distribution. Yes, when the subsidy was removed, the resources coming to the federal government, state government, and local government jumped up too. So that presupposes that state government and local government have more resources to deal with the situation we have on our hands. So what are we doing? We must be sincere in distributing all this palliative to our people in the short run so that we can stem the tide of hunger in Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Miranda.
Thank you, Right Honorable, sir. Good afternoon. I also want to support the prime mover of this Honorable Femi Said. He has really given us a good presentation. Sir, sometimes when I sit down and listen to some things that has to do with this exchange rate and the figures we hear out there, sometimes I sit down and I wonder that, are all these figures real? Because I don't seem to understand. Dollar this, dollar that. Must we spend dollars? What are our banks doing? Why can't we open up all our cards to make it work anywhere we go in the world? By that, if you decide to open a store and selling dollars, if I decide not to patronize, I have no reason to even patronize you anyway, if my cards are working. You also diversify and look for something else to do. Let all our telecom, because I discovered that this thing works together in a circle, they're interwoven. All our telecom, whatever, let them also be up and doing. Not that when you want to do any transaction, that is when they tell you that one bank system is down for hours. Everybody needs to stand up and be responsible. Let us take responsibility for the growth of this country. No matter who is involved, I saw something a few days ago that the former CBN governor paid $62 million for foreign observers. Who are the observers? Where did they come from? Can't they be invited back? Why are we deceiving ourselves? Why are we making things difficult for ourselves? Those that pay tuition for international students, let us give them a platform. They should be able to pay their tuition from the comfort of their homes with their cards. By that, nobody will be under any form of pressure in looking for dollar, looking for it. It is only in this country that even if you want to go to Ghana, we start looking for where to buy dollars. We all travel. We see people. Sometimes all these people that live abroad, if you look at their wallet, they wouldn't have more than 40 pounds, $30 in their wallet. They move around with their cards, and it's working for them. Let us also have options. We have before, we all used to use these Nitel lines and what have you. GSM came on board. They made it competitive, and we have options. If one network is not working, let us move to another one. If our light is not stable, let us have options. If Disco is not serving me, let me buy my light from somebody else that will make things work for me. By that, we can improve on our security architecture, because it's also important. Farmers are not going to the farm because of security. How long are we going to continue like this? Mr. Speaker, sir, you said it yesterday concerning the state police. I think it is high time we need it, because everything works together. Interwovens. We need to stand up and let us face the reality. Thank you, and God bless you, sir.
Honorable Lawal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, let me appreciate the prime move of this topic today. I think what is happening in Nigeria today is so disheartening that people are facing a lot of problems. And don't let us forget that the bold step our president took when he was swearing into the office, it was what's still leading to what is happening within the country, because he took a bold step by removing the subsidy and its space. And most people that were benefiting from this thing then will have find a way of trying to make things hard for people in the country. And to me, I think we see the president still need to take a bold step for what is happening now, because the situation whereby the dollar is rising every day is a problem for every one of us, and I think is leading to what is affecting most people within the community and the state at large. Sir, my speaker, sir, I think the president should try and put a kind of order that anywhere in Nigeria, dollars should be restricted. They should stop sending dollar within the country, because most of even our hotels, some businesses will prefer even having the dollar before even calling for the naira, which is things that is even affecting our economy. And I would say this, sir, I think the issue we even discussed yesterday pertaining to security is still something that we can still go back to, because it's affecting one way or the other also, because most of our farmers, as been said by Honorable Afeni, most of our farmers are not even finding a way of even going back to the farm because of insecurity, because of all these Fulani herdsmen problems. I think in the old days, we have free flow of cocoa, cotton, rubber plantation here and there, and people are still exporting those things abroad and getting would pay back to the country, which is still making a business and even making the country rising and still living in a very good way. I think if we could go back to that and try to strengthen our securities, I think things will be better, and everyone in this country will have a way to even applaud the president. That's my submission, sir.
Well, I think we should just rest in this, because we have started repeating what has been said. And let me appreciate you all for your contributions and the prime mover. But from all have been said, can be categorized into two, which has to do with inflation and then the regular depreciation of naira and the exchange market. Fine, I quite agree with you that what we refer to in Nigeria as staple food. We talk about rice, we talk about gari, we talk about one wonders how these items are being affected by dollars. Well, they are being produced locally. And yet, the prices are not same again. Even bag of rice, the tuber of yam, a bag of gari, and the rest, and beans, and the rest of them, they are not being imported. So it shows, and most of us have alluded to the fact that insecurities that we have mentioned. Yesterday, you talk about the kidnappers, you talk about the harassment, you talk about unrest, political unrest, and all that are responsible. And I think we have handled that aspect, by improving on security format of the nation, whereby we beg for states to be given opportunity to also take part in securing our states. And moving away from that, now delve into the issue of the huge disparity between dollars and naira. And it's a very huge one, truly. From last year, October, up to this time, almost about 100, let's say 70%. Let's say about 70%, or within 50 or 70. So what do we do? What do we do? How the government come in? I'm sure the CBN has been doing everything. The CBN, has been doing so. Let us commend them for what they have been doing, even if we have not seen the impact of their efforts, the policies they try to introduce to change this gap between naira and dollars. But they've been doing something, and we must commend the National Assembly as well for being proactive. Last week, I'm sure it was last week, they invited CBN, to hear from them. I'm sure they did this on behalf of the people, because it is the people that are feeling the pain. Those that have children abroad schooling, those who have to travel for medical attention, and those whose business is based on the, foreign exchange, all these people. But yet we see our weight, the impact and effects of this consultation between National Assembly and CBN. So we hope that it will make very big difference from what we have seen. But up to today, well, I don't know, maybe yesterday, and from what I've been said, the trend continues. The trend continues. So what do we do? I think number one, for me, in my own opinion, the CBN and federal government should embark on enlightenment campaign and sensitization. People need to be informed. We have to ensure that they understand what is going on, the effort the government is making, and the genesis of the problem, and what we look forward to. Because it's fine, we all know that this did not start now. It has always been with us. But when you say this, people will tell you, if the heat in the kitchen is too much, you should get out. That's what they will say. So the government needs to inform people all they've been doing, whatever they are putting into it, so that we can change this. We can reduce the difference between dollars and naira. The pressure on naira has become so much, and it is we people that are responsible. We are the one responsible. Let us accept the failure on the part of the CBN in their policies in the past, and the role of the banks. But we must also have at the back of our mind that we practice capitalism. And in such situation, everybody is allowed to, to make money. You create business, you invest, you want to make money in return. But the CBN and the government as a body should not be docile. Even in the Western world, we copy the American wars, the West generally that practice capitalism, they still ensure that national interest reigns supreme. They do not allow anybody, you may be investor, you may be manufacturer, may be anything, to jeopardize the interests of the nation. So that is where it is important for CBN and the government as a body to come in so that we can regulate the system in whatever pattern to protect the larger interests of the nation. On our part as people, every day if you go to the airport, everybody is traveling. Every day, people are traveling. And when you travel, as been said by somebody, what do you travel with? You travel with foreign currency. It may be dollar, euro, and pounds. So the pressure on Naira continue to grow. We keep on putting pressure. If you want to travel, you have to go and change Naira to dollars. Either black market or official market or whatever it is. So the more, if you have people traveling from Lagos, people traveling from Abuja, people traveling from Port Harcourt internationally, and those who even use the porous borders, everybody travel with dollars. So the more we ask for dollars, the more we put pressure on Naira. So how do we rescue Naira? So it's all about all of us, not about the government alone. It's all about all of us. We have just to do something about it. And that's why the sensitization and orientation is important. And the government has to be bold to take steps. Now we are approaching Ramadan period. Thousands of people will be going for lesser Hajj, Umrah. And we are not going in Naira. We will have dollars. That will further compound the problem, the pressure on Naira. And that simply means, the interpretation is that by the time Umrah starts, the Naira will further go down. It's just simple understanding. People will go to Umrah from Lagos, from Ogun, from Sokoto, Niger, Kwara, everywhere. Even in the East now, we have at least a handful of Muslims. So what do you think will happen? 2 months after Umrah, we will start going for Hajj. We will still go with dollars. So these are the issues that we have to address. And those that go to Jerusalem as well. In Southwest, we do boats, all of them. We have people going to Umrah. We have people going to Jerusalem. In the East now, you have people that will go to Jerusalem. In the North as well. So the pressure will continue to grow and Naira will continue to fall. So I think it is a period for us to look inward and find lasting solution. And away from that, international whatever organizations will come, IBA will come. Nigeria, as usual, we always have larger participants. International Accountants something will come, Federation. National Conference of State Legislature will come. African Bar, everything, we always participate. So, in my own suggestion, and it should start with the federal government, I think for a period to revive our situation and to save the Naira, the federal government must be bold enough to take a step that all these foreign seminars, foreign conferences should be stopped for now, at least for some period to revive the Naira. So that will reduce, for me, it will reduce the pressure on Naira. If it is important, let us bring the resource person, the expert, let us bring them to Nigeria to come and do whatever they want to do. Let them come and deliver in Nigeria. And we should engage our clerics, our religious leaders, both in Islam and this thing. Let us engage them to make them understand the situation that we have found ourselves and the solution we are trying to provide, so that we will reduce. I'm sure when we are not producing, we are not exporting, save for the oil. And it will take time. Some people talk about agriculture, they talk about cocoa, they talk about... When you plant cocoa, it takes almost 6 years, 7 years before harvesting. Which other is rubber, the same thing, palm oil, the same thing. So which means if this administration looks towards that area, it will be out of office before we start reaping the gain. And solid minerals, we have minister for solid. We should look inward and see, but which one are we going to start now? And I'll start reaping results immediately. So I think we people also should look inward to protect our national interests and support the government. Support the government if you can cut this. And we still have people who are importing goods every day. And to import, they need dollars. We've talked about people traveling every day. So government must take this, look at these areas and take a bold step in whatever form. We can engage people. It's either we reduce the number of people that the government will allow to go to Hajj, to go to Umrah, to go. But after some years, when we have revived our economy, we can as well throw the gate open. Because central bank has been borrowing, to back Naira against dollar. It has not been working. It's not working because the pressure continues. It continues. People go up to abroad to import, we import, but there's nothing that we don't import. We import shoes, we import good, we import this and that. We are not producing. And we have other countries, yes, we spend Naira, even within our economy, locally, we spend dollars against Naira. And there are some countries that we have visited that they don't, even the hotel, they would never accept dollars. They will tell you, go and exchange it to their own local currency. I was in Sri Lanka then, long time, I don't know now, long time, they did not accept. Not quite long time, we were in Mauritius, they don't. And when you go to America, they won't accept pounds from you. Now, that one is common knowledge. When you are in the UK, United Kingdom, they will not accept dollars, they will accept pounds. Europe, they will accept euros. So how come that in Nigeria, even people selling pepper now, they want to accept dollars against Naira? Pepper. So the problem is more of the people. So people have to come together and adjust. Everybody is demanding for dollar, demanding for dollar. Even at the party now, they spray dollars. Instead of Naira, we spray dollars against Naira. So the pressure is so enormous. And we just have to find ways to, to reduce the pressure. And to do that, we need the people behind the government. So that is why sensitization is so important. It's a sensitization by engaging the religious leaders. It is by engaging people that import goods. And by extension, the government can see, like mentioned by some of us, that people have dollars in their account, they have that in their account. The government can still engage them. Government said treasury bill, people buy treasury bill. Government can still find means of buying their dollars, keeping it for them until when they need it. The government don't have to cease or be so harsh on it, but they can work out modalities with the people. When you keep billions of dollars in an account, that means you don't need it. Save for people, manufacturers who have to import materials. Government can find, it's a process. So for me, I think the CBN should do more by engaging people, orientating them, having meetings with them. It is not usual meeting with the banks and bankers alone. Everybody is involved in all this. Our federal government also must take both steps to look at the areas that will continue to put pressure on Naira. And the solid minerals, Ministry of Solid Minerals, minerals at the federal level has a very important role to play, because many people, we have read about Zamfara, where people extract gold and overnight they export it without bringing anything to the cover of the government. If government is going to take charge, like they have done for petrol, they should, what is it called? Our oil. They should do the same thing to other, whatever we have in this country. They should do. So, all in all, it is good that we understand the fact that at least something has gone wrong, something is not going well, and we have, talked about it, and we need to take position. And in taking position is to also put together what we have said, so we can call on the federal government, we call on central bank, and the Ministry of Solid Mineral Resources for them to provide solution and do the needful to cure this, what do we call it, this problem of gap between Naira and dollars. As I said, the most important thing is to engage people, and also to appeal to Nigerians that we appreciate the fact that everything is not going well, but yet we still have to rally around the government. It is by working with the government, by supporting the government, by cooperating with the government, that we can provide solutions. We must not, allow ourselves to be used, because you have, the third party of Swift columnists, inciting people against the government. And I wonder what we achieve at the end of the day. It will further compound the situation. When there's chaos, people will run away, the investor will run away, everybody will run away. And the people that says all sort of, unacceptable things on social media. But, the funny thing is that these people were alive in the past administration, where you have problem in the last 60 years and you want to use 1 year to change the narrative. It is not possible. It's for us to come together, rally around the government, the current administration, and find, solutions to the problems. So I think that should be our take, by calling on central bank, calling on federal governments to look inward to provide solution. I believe continued borrowing is not going to solve this situation to support Naira. It's only by reducing pressure on Naira that Naira can spring back and, retain and maintain its old glory. So, Honorable Said, let's hear from you what you have.
Thank you, Right Honorable Sir, as amended by you, sir.
resolved to call on the federal government to take a bold step by reducing foreign trips that involves ministry parastatal agencies of the federal government, and by extension, making pronouncements that will also caution the rate of traveling by the states. Call on CBN to engage or embark on sensitization and orientation of the Nigerians to understand the steps being taken by CBN in reducing the gap between dollars and naira, and also informing them the expected rules of the Nigerians. Banning local use of dollars in transaction, which I think they have done already. I think EFCC also came up with the, threat of arrest of anybody that transacts or requests payments in dollars. And maybe we should drop that. Engaging depositors in dollars with banks, for acceptable with intention to create acceptable arrangements where such funds can be utilized by federal government. That will reduce the pressure on naira. I think from me that is well. And also some people call, we have done that yesterday on issue of security. We have done that yesterday. Which other one? I think that is. So, you can now, Honorable Said, you can now move your.
I hereby move that all the amendments made by the Honorable Speaker in submission to the Naira-dollar scarcity should be adopted. So I so move.
Honorable Pendo Joseph.
I rise to second the motion as being moved by Honorable Said.
All in favor, say aye. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. Deputy Majority Leader. Sorry, before you order laying of report, Honorable Ajayi.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable members, I stand before you to lay a report of the Committee on Establishment Training, Pension, Public Service on a petition titled Lagos State Pensioners under the new Contributor Pension Scheme are dying of hunger, neglect, and depression. An appeal. I so lay.
Yeah, Honorable Kasu.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Next on the other paper is the presentation of reports. A petition titled Invasion of Magodo GRA Phase 2 by the Omonile in conjunction with the private developers by creating illegal access to the proposed wetland development. A call to avert the security threat to lives and property in the Magodo GRA Phase 2 area. Honorable Kazim A.O., Chairman, Committee on Lands. Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, to be able to take this presentation, I therefore move that the House dissolves to Committee of the Whole. I so move.
Honorable Suraj.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rest to second the motion has moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Yukakazu.
The Right Honorable Speaker, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. The report of the Committee on Lands on a petition titled Invasion of Magodo GRA Phase 2 by the Omonile in conjunction with their private developers by creating illegal access to the proposed wetland development, a call to avert security threat to lives and property in GRA Phase 2. Right Honorable Speaker, sir, I beg you to move to page 2, sir. Thank you, sir. Chairman's remark. I, Honorable Kazim O.M., the Chairman Committee on Land, stated that a petition was received on the above subject, and the purpose of the meeting was to find an amicable solution after hearing submission from both parties. I granted Mr. Sheriff Daramola, Chairman of Magodo Residents Association, to read his prayer. Submission, sir. Mayoress Aminat Abolanle Bada, the executive chairperson, Ikosi Local Council Development Area, explained that 2 years ago, she was called on the phone by the public relations officer of Magodo Residents Associations, Mrs. Ibironke Oyeneye, of an invasion of Magodo Estate by Omonile. She subsequently invited the chairman, Magodo Residents Association, to meet with her at Magodo Police Station, which she declined, but instead requested that they should meet at a location within Magodo Estate. She proceeded to contact the executive governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to inform him of the ongoing situation that Omonile, along with officials from Federal House in Abuja and heavily armed policemen, were at the main gate of the estate, attempting forcefully to gain entry. According to her, the governor contacted the chief of staff, Mr. Tayo Ayinde, former commissioner of police, Mr. Hakeem Odumosu, and Area H commander to immediately meet him at the Magodo Estate main gate. She stated that she met all the parties involved and pacified the Omonile by promising to make available a low land for the Agri family within Magodo area as compensation, since the land was established to be their central heritage and ultimately was not used for the purpose it was acquisitioned. She explained further that the governor saddled her with the responsibility to meet with the now former commissioner, Physical Planning and Urban Development, to make available a proper layout with documentation for an access pathway to the land belonging to the family. She stated that the current Commissioner of Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Olumide A. Oluyinka, along with the General Manager, Lagos State Building Control Agency, LSHA, Architect Bolahon Oki, went on a visitation to Magodo Estate after several petitions were received from residents with claim that some occupants in the estate had changed the purpose of their land space from residential to commercial, such as nightclubs, clinics, and hotels. It was discovered that the original layout of the estate by the ministry shows an access road connecting Magodo residential estate to Omonile's land, which was a low land. However, the Magodo Residential Association maliciously erected another fence after the first was demolished by the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development for lack of approval from Lagos State Building Control Agency. Also, it contravenes the original approved state layout of access to the Omonile's land from Magodo Estate. At this point, sir, she persuaded MRA, Magodo Residential Association, to allow Omonile producer access
to their land, but MRA refused as they see themselves as an authority above government. Dr. Olumide Oluyinka, Commissioner, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development, informed the committee that in October 2023, he received a letter from Magodo Residential Association on two particular issues. One was on the estate invasion by Omoniles, and the other was on the conversion of some properties. He thereafter paid Magodo Residential Association a visit, and it was discovered that the residential building was recently converted to a nightclub for commercial purposes. He further explained that if all buildings without appropriate documentations and approval to change status were contravened, it will be termed as government being insensitive. The commissioner stated further, sir, that he visited the lowland and discovered that some Magodo Residential Association buildings at the borderland had encroached into the Omoniles land, and therefore warned that they should expect another official visit from the ministry, where all buildings that have encroached will be marked for demolition. According to him, the Magodo Residential Association and the Omoniles were invited to his office, where they deliberated extensively about access route for Magodo Estate into the Omoniles land. It was discovered that on the Magodo layout, a second road existed, where Magodo Residential Association residents erected a gate to block pedestrian access of Omoniles into their estates. Lagos State Building Control Agency, Mr. Oki, GO, the GM, Lagos State Building Control Agency, submitted that during the meeting at the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development Office, he explained that the fence erected by Magodo Residential Association ESCO was demolished as necessary building permit was not obtained at the agency before construction took place. He also stated that during visitation necessary to Magodo Estate, he observed that several buildings owned by residents in the estate had encroached onto the Omoniles lowland, and he further advised that homeowners within the estate should refer back to the original government-approved layout of Magodo scheme to avoid demolition of properties. Page 4, sir. Chairman Magodo Residential Association. The chairman Magodo Residential Association disagreed with the claims made by Mayoress Bada, executive chairperson of Ikosi CDA, of CDA's ESCO being and the government and the resistance to laws governing the state. He stated that after the inauguration of MRO ESCO, the chairperson of Ikosi CDA was paid a courtesy visit at the council premises on the 18th of May 2023, where an approval to re-erect the fence that was demolished at Adeto Radilaja and Bashiru Shita by Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development was sought. The association was, however, requested to officially send in a letter of request, which was submitted and acknowledged on the 25th of May 2023, but no approval to the request was received, and the vice chairperson, Mrs. Isidiola, put a call through to the chairperson of his constituency, and she gave her verbal approval to re-erect the fence. He stated that to his dismay, the chairman accused him of re-erecting the fence in the presence of Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, who later promised to hold a meeting with all parties involved on the 19th of October 2023, which never took place. However, on the 1st of November 2023, officials from Lagos Building Control Agency demolished the fence, and almost immediately after their departure, the Omoniles wanted to erect a gate, but were resisted by the residents of the estate, as it appeared to be a deliberate plot between the chairperson, Mayoress Bada, government officials, and the Omoniles. Our observations are: 1, government acquired expanse of land from original landowners, Omonile, for overriding public interest. 2, sir, government reneged on the purpose of acquiring the land. 3, sir, the judgment of the Supreme Court confirms the Omonile at the original landowners. 4, sir, the state government compensated the original landowners, the Omoniles, with the low land at the back of Magodo Estate. 5, sir, the chairperson of his constituency LCD saddled by the governor to liaise with the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development to create a layout with documentation for an access pathway to the Omoniles land. 6, sir, the original estate layout by Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development made provision for an access road connecting Magodo Estate to the Omoniles land. 7, sir, without approval from Lagos State Building Control Agency, MRA, that's Magodo Residential Association, created a fence blocking the pathway earmarked in the original layout plan as access to the moneyless land. Number 8, sir, the fence erected by MRA, Magodo Residential Association, was demolished by LSHA as no permit was sought from the agency to build the fence. The chairman MRA claimed that a verbal approval was given by the chairperson of the LCDA. 10, sir, environmental impact assessment bordering on the land and drainages has been carried out by the state government. Members of MRA oppose the development of the lowland, which they refer to as wetland, alleging security threat to their estate. Number 12, sir, members of MRA denied the original landowner access to the lowland through Magodo Estate. Number 13, sir, the Commissioner, Ministry of Physical Planning, visited the lowland and discovered that some buildings that were constructed on the borderland encroached into the moneyless land. Number 14, sir, it was also discovered by the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development that a second road exists to serve as access route for Monile, as shown on the layout, which Magodo Residential Association erected a gate to block. And number 15, sir, some residential buildings inside the estate have been converted for commercial purposes. Mr. Speaker, sir, our recommendations. Magodo Residential Association should desist from hindering the landowners' access to their land. Number 2, sir, Lagos State Building Control Agency should immediately remove the fence erected by the Magodo Residential Association in order for the family to have access to their land. Number 3, sir, the Magodo Residential Association should desist from opposing any government policies in relation to the said land. Number 4, sir, the House of Assembly should ensure that the government agencies, such as Lagos State Building Control Agency, ensure that no association poses as interest to government policy. Government should construct drainages in the lowland to forestall flooding. Resident buildings that are found to be approaching on money part of the land, that's number 6, should refer back to the original government approved layout of Magodo scheme to afford demolition of property by LSHA. Number 7, Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development should carry out a holistic overhaul to determine buildings without physical planning permit and approval to construct. And number 8, sir, all homeowners that have changed their purpose status of their buildings, either from residential to commercial or vis-a-vis, must immediately refer back to the original status approved by the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the committee, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Ndashiru Ajayi Obasa, for the confidence reposed in us to carry out this exercise. My appreciation also to the clerk, extend to the clerk of the House and Secretariat for successful completion of the assignment. Honorable Olayinka Kasim. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Tobo. Put off your lights, Chairman.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to move that the report as presented by Honorable Kasim Olayinka, the Chairman of the Committee on Land, be adopted for debate. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Who goes first? Honorable Akisoya.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, sir. Let me first commend the chairman of the committee and your committee member. My name is Honorable Akisoya, representing the good people of Mushi. Mr. Speaker, this committee have tried a lot, and the committee, the recommendation is straight one, sir. It's very straight with all the work that has been done by the committee, sir. I think, Mr. Speaker, if I'm permitted, sir, maybe we should, I should move that the recommendation of the committee, should be adopted for the resolution of the House, sir.
Who is according? Honorable Joseph Koyede.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, sir. I rise to second the motion has been moved by Honorable Akisoya for adoption.
Rise and sit. All in favor say aye. Those against the ayes have it. Kasumu.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir. Distinguished honorable members, I would like to move a motion that the House resolves back to plenary.
Honorable Ajamale.
I rise to second the motion.
All in favor say aye. Those against the ayes have it. Honorable Kasumu.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir. At the Committee of the Whole, the House took into consideration the presentation of reports of a petition which was treated, it was discussed, and the recommendations of the committee were adopted as a resolution of the House. This was what transpired at the Committee of the Whole.
Honorable Suraj.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to affirm that that's the true cup of what transpired at the Committee of the House.
Honorable Olabi.
Thank you, sir. I rise to second that affirmation.
All in favor say aye. Those against the ayes have it. Honorable Council.
Right Honorable Speaker, sir, distinguished honorable colleagues, having exhausted the items on the order paper for today, with the permission of the Right Honorable Speaker, I therefore move that the House adjourns till Thursday, 15 February 2024. I so move.
Honorable Ajamale.
I rise to second the motion as moved. Mr.
All in favor say aye. Those against the ayes have it. This House stands adjourned till Thursday, 15 February 2024 at 10 a.m. prompt. I rise.